So are you constantly failing at taking outposts or just getting blasted by enemies in general? Well, I have just the thing for you. Today we're gonna take a look at some amazing exquisite items you can get early on, including some awesome weapons like this storm heavy bow that can zap enemies with lightning, and many more we're gonna check out in this video, so let's jump right in. Now, to start things off, we have this really awesome Exquisite Master Hunter longbow. So this is something you acquire very early from the Aranahe community contributions mission that you start from Nefika right here at the base home tree. So this is a 3-part quest chain in which you have to bring back the specific items that all of these camps around the starting map require. So there are a lot more camps than there are objectives in the 3-part quest chain. First one is 3, second is 5, and the last one is 7, but obviously you will have a lot more here to choose from. In case you're stuck with one of the items, you can just go to the other. Again, just like in the video from yesterday, which you should totally check out, yeah, definitely pay attention to the biomes, as when you consult your hunter guide, this is one of the best ways to pinpoint their precise locations, especially when they require some of the exquisite items to deliver. However, once you're done with all of this and go back to Nefika, this is when you're gonna get the Master Hunter longbow of exquisite quality, as well as the blueprint to craft a better version of it if you want to later on. But even if you just use the one you get, this comes with an amazing 76 damage, which is like almost twice as much as any other better longbow you might find in the meantime. Plus, it has some amazing bonuses, so you get a ton of movement speed when you defeat enemies. Plus, at full draw, it gives you a lot more damage. So really amazing one, and in a bit I'm going to show you a very good, a great bow too. But in the meantime, if you have any trouble with especially the RDA max, then I definitely recommend a shotgun. And luckily, there's one early that gives over 100 damage, letting you pretty much one-shot them. So this is something that you get from the Unsung Hunter mission, which you get from these two NPCs you again find back at the home tree. And eventually this is going to bring you to this location in the middle of the jungle called the Cocoon Hills. Now in here you're going to have to fight a bunch of mechs, which is why I recommend using your trap launcher so that you can take them down fast. And once you're done with that, pay close attention to this rock formation near the water in the center, because this very chest in the middle is going to give you this epic variant of the shotgun. And what I found is that this was the best before any other shotgun until you buy the RDA variant for 60 scraps. So yeah, this is really awesome early on. It definitely helped me a ton, as I tended to just get obliterated by the number of mechs for some reason. It definitely seems that the game got a difficulty bump since the early previews. However, if you also complete said mission and go back to the NPCs, you also get a legendary or exquisite longbow mod, which is going to give you some extra wildlife damage. So this is one of the best for hunting that I found early on. But let's keep on going and moving on to the next exquisite item. We have this really cool waistcloth that gives you some of the best bonuses and stats, especially with the items that I'm going to show you how to get in a bit. So this is what you get from that Steady Wings 3-part mission chain, in which you kinda have to grab one of these moth queens, I guess, and deliver them to their respective trees. Quick tip here, by the way, to not increase that discomfort level too much. Just walk your way to the destination, or at least like a quarter or a half of it walk, as that's not going to increase that discomfort one bit. Once you finish the quest chain and talk back to the NPCs at the home tree, you're gonna be given the legendary waistcloth that you can go ahead and just craft right away. Now, in terms of the items needed for that, at least in terms of the cocoon fiber, you're going to get a ton of these at the end of each of the respective parts when you do the quest chain. And there is a very solid chance that by the second of them, you're going to get at least a couple of Mastercraft cocoon variants, which are going to be very useful as you can craft the max variant of the item. So this is a bit RNG dependent, but again, there are so many that eventually you should at least see one of them dropping. If you don't worry, you can just craft it at a later date. Now, for the Viper Teeth, you can find a lot of exquisite quality right here just beneath the Stone Blade Ridge in this Great Roots biome. There are a ton of them that you can find in this area, and usually they walk in packs, but this gives you just a lot more opportunities to get higher quality versions of them. And for that scale bark, there are plenty of, again, exquisite quality ones right here in the Dryer's Fall, very close to the spinner circle. So this is the exact location you will want to go into, but there are tons and tons of them by the trees. Just make sure that you collect them at night, as they give you the max bonuses. And once you craft the item, you get some amazing bonuses from it. So just the 25% damage increase is insane, but you also get a little bit more damage when attacked, so do keep that in mind. Now moving on to number 3, we have this really amazing lightning heavy bow, which, as you might guess, yes, it zaps enemies with lightning, and it's an amazing option, especially against robotic enemies. So this is something you get from the Upper Plains mission called Tech Support. This just opens up as usual if you just go in the area and complete a bit of the story there, and it will bring you right here to the east. So this actually gives you both the longbow as well as the blueprint right away after just talking in the middle of the mission with this NPC, and you can go ahead and use it right away. But you can of course also just continue and finish that mission, which is also going to give you a ton of spare parts. So this is something that we're gonna use for a different item in just a little bit. About 11 spare parts are given to you just from this mission. So again, this bow is going to be at least twice as better in terms of damage than any other bow you get up until this point. It comes with at least 110 damage. Plus, it does feature storm arrows. So storm arrows are some of the best against the RDA max, as they get completely stunned during like 5 seconds duration that they get electrocuted. But because of the affliction effect from the bow during that time period, you also deal 35% more damage against them, as they are affected by status effects. Now any status effect of course can provide you the same bonus, but this just goes in very well, and you can basically one-shot them most of the time. Oh, and by the way, it completely one-shots turrets too, so if you are in trouble, you can just do a quick storm arrow and they will completely collapse. Now at number 5, chances are that you already started this mission. It's called Teachable Moment, and in this one you have to create a chest piece for NATO. But during the middle of this mission, she's going to give you the blueprints for one right away that you can go ahead and craft. And this is one of the best early on because it just gives you a flat out damage buff. Now, on the final stage of this mission, she's going to require some higher grade items to finish the quest, but since we're going to be doing it anyway, might as well just pull it off with the best possible materials. So one of them is those Viper Fangs we already got from the previous step, so just go ahead and hunt for those again if you don't have enough left. And the second one is going to be this Sky Rock Moss. Again, we can find a ton of them with exquisite quality on this very kind of island right here in the middle to these floating islands in the Shadow Wood. So this specific spot right here that you can see on the map has a ton of this moss laying around, both on the ground as well as on the trees, and you will find at least a handful of exquisite quality no matter what. So with these two high quality items available, you can go back and craft that, finish the mission, but also get a very good chest piece in the process. This is going to give you between 60 to 70 HP, plus quite a bit of damage and wildlife damage. So quite a good option early on. Now, since we talked about spare parts, there are some amazing items you can buy early on relatively from the Resistance HQ. You will get spare parts pretty much from completing quests, especially side missions, and even more so from raiding those RDA sites and finding RDA camps like how I explained in yesterday's video. So there are a few items back at the HQ you can buy. For example, at Raj, you can get the Shielded Relay Bracelet. This helps a ton with the hacking because it gives you plus 6 meter range on it. So you no longer have to get that close to enemies to use hacking in the first place. Especially useful against turrets and even more so the mech enemies. But there are others in there that you can obviously buy. So for example, if you go at some of these other NPCs, yeah, especially the weapons vendor has some legendary quality, both assault rifles as well as shotguns. Now I suggest buying the shotgun both because it's much better, but also because in a bit I'm going to show you how to get this specific Gravedigger assault rifle from an early on mission. But the shotgun here is really efficient, has almost double the amount of damage as the one we talked about before, plus a lot more bonuses to the RDA damage. And this brings us to the final item, which is this really awesome exquisite Gravedigger that I got from a mission that brings you right here in the Waterway Valley. So this is going to be called Lightning in the Hand. Essentially, it's given to you once you reach those upper steps region, so not too far off in the main story. So this is just another outpost you have to take down, except that there's also an NPC called Katie that you have to rescue. That's why I totally suggest going in without raising the alarm, because once you do it, you get a lot more items too, as well as the Exquisite precision assault rifle right here in the middle of this chest. Now normally these should all be randomized, however for some reason this always seems to drop the same item, at least it did for the tests I've done, but totally let me know down below in the comments if you get a different item. Again, you're gonna be able to both rescue this NPC, and once you talk to her, she's also going to give you a guarantee Exquisite upgrade, which is going to be this mod right here, also for assault rifles. So the spatter magazine, this is going to be a perfect option for the same rifle you just got, as it gives you extra damage to marked enemies. And all in all, it's a really good weapon nonetheless. It's probably not going to be as fast and OP as it is with the shotgun, but it's going to have much better range, so you can totally sit behind cover and take enemies from far away. But yeah, you're not going to be as efficient as with the shotgun. Anyway, this is pretty much it. Let me know down below if you found any other exquisite items in the early hours of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. In the meantime, totally check out my beginner's guide, which is also going to tell you some of the biggest mistakes to avoid along the way, and I'll see you guys in the next video.